Lesson 6, multi-step squared and cubed equations with real-world applications. Example 1, x cubed equals 8 to the negative 1. So we would take the cubed root of each side, which means x. Well, before we take the cubed root of each side, we have to remember to put 1 over 8. So we would have x cubed would equal 1 over 8, and then take the cubed root of each side, which means x equals 1/2. Now to check this, we would have x cubed equals 8 to the negative 1. So now we would take 1 over 2 and cube that and have 8 to the negative 1. So we'd have 1 over 8 equals 8 to the negative 1. And now we would have 8 to the negative 1 equals 8 to the negative 1. Our next example, when we are doing multi-step, we would use our laws of exponents here. So x times x. So our exponent 1 plus 1 is x squared minus negative 1 times x is negative x equals 121 minus x. To get rid of the x's, we could add x to both sides. So I'm going to add x to both sides. And I have x squared equals 121. Now I'll take the square root of both sides, which means x equals 11. So to check this, I have x times x minus 1 equals 121 minus x. 11 times 11 minus 1 equals 121 minus 11. So I have 11 times 10 equals 121 minus 11. So I have 110 equals 110. And our answer checks. Our next equation, we have we use our distributive property. And we have x cubed plus 9x equals. Here we multiply this and get 9x plus, and we take half of 54 and we get 27. So now we want to get rid of our 9x's. So I'm going to subtract 9x from both sides. And I get x cubed equals 27. And I'm going to take the cube root of each side. So I have x equals 3. And again, if we check this, we have x cubed plus 9x equals 1/2. 18x plus 54. So now I have 3 cubed plus 9 times 3 equals 1/2. 18 times 3 plus 54. So 3 cubed is 27 plus 27 equals 1/2. 18 times 3 is 54 plus 54. So now I have 54 here, and I have 1/2 of 108 for 54 equals 54. Okay. For number 2, I have here, I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides. So I have negative 3x squared equals negative 75. Divide both sides by negative 3. And we have x squared is going to equal 25. And then take the square root of both sides, where x is going to equal 5. When I check this, I have negative 3x squared plus 14 equals negative 61. Remember that x squared only goes to the x here, so I've got 5 squared plus 14 equals negative 61. So here I've got 5 squared, so negative 3 times 25 plus 14 equals negative 61. So I have negative 75 plus 14 equals negative 61. Negative 61 equals negative 61, and it checks. Next, we have two spheres. So in the real world, we have a fully inflated beach ball that contains 288 pi cubic inches of air. What is the radius of the beach ball? Well, our volume, if you remember, is 4/3 pi r cubed. So let's replace our volume with 288 pi, and that equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So the first thing that we can do is divide both sides by pi. And those cancel. So now we have 288 equals 4/3 r squared, or r cubed, sorry. So the next thing that we can do here is we can multiply both sides by 3/4. And r cubed is going to equal 216. Now we're going to take the cube root of each side so that our r, or our radius, is going to equal 6 cubic inches. Or 6 inches, actually. So our next problem, we have Robin bought a crystal globe that has a volume of 1,774 and 2/3 pi cubic centimeters. Find the radius of our volume. So let's put our volume formula down first. So volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Let's replace 1,774 and 2/3 pi, which equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So the first thing is we're going to divide both sides by pi so that we can eliminate that. So we have 1,774 and 2/3 equals 4/3 r cubed. Now we can multiply both sides by the reciprocal, or 3/4. So now we have 1,331. So when we take the cube root of each side, and we have r equals 11 centimeters. So the radius of the globe is 11 centimeters. And that is our lesson for today.